Hello everybody, welcome to my channel and to my playlist Sewing Made Easy. In case if you just found me now, my name is Lilo Siegel, I'm in Germany and I love to give hints and tips all around sewing to make it much easier for you. So in my today's video I will show you what is the best way to do a side pocket in a pair of trousers or in a skirt or in a dress. My item which I'm sewing at the moment are trousers, but as I just mentioned, you can do exactly the same pocket in the same way for a skirt or for a dress. So I hope I got you interested and you want to watch this, because it would be my pleasure to tell you how to do it. So let's get started. Right now you can look at my front trouser parts right here now. And you know, this will be my pockets when I'm finished with it, coming out of the side seam from the side. So how can you make a stripe perfectly fit without having to mess around? Because I know stripes can be a challenge for lots of people, sometimes even for me, believe me. So I got to think, how do I make it easy for myself that I get this stripe totally in line with my cutting, so my trousers in this area will look perfect? Well, that's not so difficult, because you do have a pattern. As an example, this will be the part for underneath your trousers to go on top of your pocket part that's lying underneath. How deep you cut that in, or even if you might want to cut the whole pocket part out of the main material and not out of a lining, the idea how to do this is exactly the same. So what I do is I take my pattern and I lie it on top of my trousers that I got here, exactly in the position as it will be underneath later, as I got a 1 centimeter seam allowance here. I put it exactly in that position. And I put it here on the side, because that's exactly how it will fit. And now I draw onto my pattern my stripes that I got here. 3 of them is enough. You can see I got a white one, a small one, a white one. I draw them all the way through. Then I put my pattern on my material, exactly fitting with the stripes that I just drew onto this pattern. And that's the way I cut my facing for my pocket here. I made it a little bit bigger. This is my original pattern, but I wanted it to go a little bit deeper in. That's why you can see it like that. And you can also see I stitched this all the way around on already this part. I do not clean off this edge with the overlock or with a zigzag stitch. No, because I think it's much cleaner if this edge is tucked over by 1 centimeter instead of having all the threads here from the overlock, because you might have some rings on, you go into the pocket and each time you might catch the thread and then the seam will be very quickly not in a good state anymore. So that's the first part, and of course on the other side it could be slightly different, your pattern. So you got to do exactly the same again. You got to put your pattern in the position as if you had it stitched on, as it will fit later, exactly that way. And then you drew your lines again. You see I got my white stripe here, my small stripe and my white stripe. I didn't draw it all the way through because I know one of my lines is actually enough to do. And when I put this on here now, you see exactly that's how it fitted. And as I mentioned before, I made it a little bit wider, tucked it over and already stitched all the way around. And if you wonder why this pocket has this kind of shape, because on trousers, to give it a firm front, I always make the pocket, the lining pocket, all the way to go in the front end, because that makes my trousers always stay very well in position and it doesn't stretch out, as I do have a stretch material here that I don't want. When my stomach sticks out a bit, I want this to stay firm. So that's very, very good. So the next step is, of course, we need the other lining for this part. And of course the size, you make the size pocket you want, but don't make him too small because otherwise it's not worth having him. So this is my opposite pocket part. I just put it on here once so you see. That's how we'll stitch it on later. This is only the part to go in the front zipper in. And as I stitch this, I will show you in a moment. But I want to explain something else. As you might have seen my video that I just put in a couple of days ago into YouTube, I made the back pocket already with this extra stripe in. And something similar I will do on this front pocket here. Therefore, I cut myself already another stripe, and this stripe will run across my trousers like that. But I will show you exactly how I do this on the sewing machine. So on the sewing machine, of course, you prepare first your underneath pocket part with the facing, however deep you want to make it. Then you take your smaller pocket part, which, as you know, will fit on top like this. And you can iron this edge over or do it with the overlock, but I think it's much cleaner if you iron it over, and in a moment we will stitch over that. But now first you take it with the turned over edge on the bottom and take your trousers with the side cut for the pocket. Put it exactly on that edge. If your pocket is a little bit bigger, that's okay. That's easy to cut, but don't make it smaller because you can't cut the trousers when you've done that. So all you have to do now first is go along on about 5 millimeters maybe from the edge, and just hold these two parts, the main material and your pocket material, so they fit together. Up here you got to be even, and there you got to be even. Now you take your other facing, which is going to put the stripe on here, and which is later on inside here also the facing, which are already turned over by 1 centimeter, as you can see. But I go on this side now, on the right side, take my stripe, the one I want to have showing on here, I fit it on the top again, on this edge, and if you don't see the stripe through, you definitely have to cut the stripe to be showing out however you want. So this is now 1 centimeter which I have here, because that is the stripe I want to show out. So I put it on my edges, and now I stitch my centimeter, just 1 millimeter next to my white stripe that I got there, because I want to have this little plaid stripe sticking out. And you can see my facing is way too big at the moment, but that doesn't bother me. I rather want it a little bit bigger. I can always cut this. If I cut it too short in the beginning, I got a problem. So now this seam I turn totally over, so it's facing the lining, and this one I put exactly here in the edge as I wanted to show out. And as I stitched a touch next to the white stripe, I got this little black stripe left, and that makes me able to stitch with my black yarn, which I got on the machine, exactly in that little groove. So it looks like I didn't even stitch along there, and that makes it looking very, very tidy and clean. And that's what I always say, make your sewing as tidy and as clean as possible, because the more fun you will have when you finished your garment that you are sewing. So I go all the way down here. Now look, that looks perfect, doesn't it? Okay, no, not because I did it, nah. Okay, and now here we have a look. This is all lying flat now because we stitched it through. So we put this facing on top of the lining, the pocket lining, and we stitch down as far as we got it prepared. And that part is also finished now. We're practically finished with this pocket, and you see how easy that was. So we take this big part which we got prepared already, put this one exactly in the position as we did the cutting. So when you evened up the lines, just put some couple of stitches in the top to hold this for you. Now go to the side, do the same here, even them up, and only put a little stitching in there first, because we first have to finish the pocket before we can stitch all the way down there. Therefore I open this up. Now you can see this ironed over edge that I did earlier on here. I now stitch on, and that's really easy and nice to do. And because I don't want that seam inside to look at me, I put another stitch down right here, so my pocket is perfectly held together, and that's for me the way I really want it. Now all we have to do is first of all close our pocket, and then of course clean it all the way with a zigzag or overlock. Clean it off this edge, and we cut this edge then off to get the form of our trousers of our side. And that's all what's to it. Well, I hope I could really give you a nice idea how to do a nice side pocket with a stripe that makes it look, again, really jazzy and nice. Well, thanks for watching. Give me some comments. I would really like that and appreciate it. So stay healthy, and I wish you all the best from Germany. Until one time again. Bye bye.